back. It's Caroline again from Mind and Muse Crafts, and here I am for my countdown till Christmas. This is the second episode. I shared a little bit with you yesterday about how I was working on my countdown project, which is the Advent's Cardi Cal. Which is the Advent's Cardi. The Cal has been running since the 31st of October and will continue to run until we don't know. We're just giving people a chance. I mean, the hashtag will always be there. It's not like we can shut it down or anything like that. It's just that we wanted it to be a little laid back, but then I kind of got the feeling that I didn't want this to go on until the next year. I wanted next year to start out clean, and so I kind of hurried along. And then I saw that Rosina was working on a second cardigan for as a gift, for a Christmas gift for her sister, and I was like, oh my gosh! And I'm still working on the first one. So I kind of decided to chug along. Plus, yeah, these kind of projects, if you extend them for too long a period, they kind of will fall into the background of your crafting work. And so, yeah, it didn't seem to me that if I left it for too long, I would actually get it done. So, sure, take your time and work on yours however you like. I mean, to each his own. Some people like long-term projects that they can work on little by little. Some people like projects that they can get out of the way as quickly as possible, and they'll just force themselves until the project is complete. Some people can only work on one project at a time. Some people can work on tons of projects at the same time. To each his own. I think I will be very glad if I get a cardigan for Christmas and I can just... Plus, we have to count the days that we actually have temperatures here that I could actually feel that I want to put a cardigan on, especially a cardigan of that thickness and that weight. So, yes, before maybe January, beginning of February, if that isn't done, I won't get a chance to use it anyway. So, yes, I've been trying to get it done, and I continue to work on my sleeve. Here you go. This is the second sleeve. I used here what was called, I hadn't used that stitch anywhere else in the project. This is what they actually call the houndtooth stitch. And I guess it actually looks a lot better if you use a thicker yarn. In this thin yarn, it's not so easy to tell, but I guess the houndtooth is because every once in a while there's a long stitch that kind of digs in to I don't know, kind of like digs into the stitch underneath it, or maybe I'm wrong. The thing about it was that the way I understood it is that it is nothing except what we call the lemon peel stitch, but using two different colors. It does look like the stitch that I was trying to imitate, in the sense that if you look on, this is the right side, you notice how the brown looks like it is the primary color there. So, and if I look at it on the inside, you get kind of like a different color scheme. It seems like now that grayish blue has taken over. It's like the principal, the main color, and the coordinating color would be the brown. So yeah, that is a characteristic of the houndstooth stitch. It does have that, it's like double-sided, so if you do a blanket out of this entire stitch, the back side of your blanket will look different from the front side of your blanket. In this case, well, nobody's ever going to know that because the inside is not going to be seen. But what's left here is a third row of color, and then I already have my, let me step aside for a minute because I already have my cuffs waiting to be sewn on, and we'll do that someday, hopefully, maybe before the weekend. And so yeah, I'm pushing on with that one. I kind of like thought I was going to finish it in what was left of last night, but after a long day, I kind of get tired and I couldn't finish it. I got halfway through the block and I'm like, "Oh, I want to go to bed." So, if you're wondering, this is the, let's say, the join on one side. There's a close up of the join on one side, and there's a close up on the join on the back side where you can actually see that I am carrying up my yarn. But it doesn't look bad. Looks nice and neat. So there you go. And here's a close-up of the pool in the variegated yarn that pools and that I am using to substitute the animal print. I think it does a pretty good job. And it's not troublesome because the yarn spots by itself. So yes, that is my update for today. I don't know if tomorrow's update is going to say, "Hey guys, I'm finished," but I'm not pressuring myself for that to happen. Today I was hoping to share a story. Everybody likes a story. Why not a Christmas story? This Christmas story is real, and it all started by the fact that I had mentioned this year that I didn't feel the urge, the need, or the want to put up Christmas decorations or a Christmas tree especially, because that takes a bit of work, especially when you have everything put away in boxes very high up. You have to wait for somebody to come around and help you. So I was into that type of dull spirit or non-spirit of Christmas. And Clarissa had mentioned that she had put up her tree, and her tree was kind of like, what did she call this? Like, I guess like maybe forest themed, where was all about woodland creatures and stuff like that. And so I said, "Well, can't help you out there." And she said, "No, but you remember the stuffed little animals that we used to use for the tree? Some of them were woodland creatures." And so I got to thinking, well, many years ago, when Clarissa was a child, my other two were probably more teenagers, but Clarissa was still a child, and she's always loved these types of stuff. So she was very into the decorating for Christmas, and we had this humongous 7-foot tree that it was 7 foot, but it was also very wide and very frothy. It had all kinds of branches. It was very full. It was a full tree. And we had that tree for years. And as years went by, I purchased every year a couple or several small stuffed animals of different sorts that I could put on the tree. So I had squirrels, and I had beavers, and I had moose, and there were, well, camels don't fit into the woodland thing, but there were camels. And so when I decided that that tree was going to be no more, because it was a bit hectic to put it up in the living room. It was very big, and it required all the furniture to be moved around so that it could actually fit. When I decided I wasn't going to do it was when the skinny trees became a fashion. And I purchased a skinny tree, and when I purchased the skinny tree, I decided to go with a bird themed. So bird houses and all different types of birds and anything that had to do with birds. So if you saw when I was with Clarissa, we were sharing a screen, we did a 12 Days of Christmas exchange between her and I, and that was the tree that appeared at the beginning of every single one of those episodes. So if you want to take a look at that tree, you can go and look at those episodes. I don't remember if any of them. Well, you could probably see it in full because we were always sitting in front of the Christmas tree before we did our little exchange. So you could just hop over and take a look at those videos, or just a part of it. You don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want to, although they are very entertaining. So I would strongly recommend that you stay and watch them. It makes a good sort of binge watch. It makes a good sort of binge watch. Even I watch them at least once every Christmas. Ever since we did them, once every Christmas, I binge watch them to kind of it really gets you into the mood of the Christmas and the exchanges and thinking outside the box and trying to get to know a person and their likes and to really get the message of handmade gifts and all that. It was it was a good experience for us both, and year after year as I relive it, I always like those recordings. So if you get a chance, stop by, you can see them, and you'll see the skinny tree that I am now talking about. And so thinking that, well, if I'm not going to put up a tree this year, but if I did put up a tree, it was still going to be this bird-themed tree, this bird-themed skinny tree. So, yeah, I think I'm going to surprise Clarissa and go to that box and look through all of the different ornaments and see what I can send her. So I am going to go to a past me and show you a video of the box with the different ornaments and the ones that I chose to send to her. Enjoy! So now for the end of the story, which reminds me of a movie that I was watching last night. It was on Netflix. I watched it. No, it was on Prime, Amazon Prime, and it was called A Christmas Snow. And it was the worst movie that I could have picked to see after what I'm going to tell you, because it had all the elements that I am now going through. So I decided to put all of those woodland creatures into a box along with some other gifts for Clarissa as a Christmas present and send them to her. I sent 3 boxes that day. I sent a box for each of my children to make sure that, well, I knew I was a little bit late because they had been saying that the deadline to receive packages in time for Christmas was December 4th, which was the Friday, and I was going in on the Monday after because it was just that there were some things that I wanted to send her that I hadn't had time over the weekend to purchase or to get ready. So I left it for that Monday. And, well, sent all the packages out. They said the arrival date was Friday, which I still thought was a little bit much, that I was hoping that some of the things that I put into the package would not spoil even though you're not supposed to send things that spoil, but we always try to do those things because we always think that you're going to pay the price for the package, and they always tell you it's going to be late, but it's going to be there. Well, both of my other children received their packages on the 11th, as stated, but Clarissa did not receive her package. And up till today, she has not received that package. So I was so sad to know that her Christmas gifts had gotten lost in the mail, along with a little bit of her childhood, right? Because these creatures and these things that I had purchased, these ornaments were, well, they're not really ornaments, but they were ornaments for us because we used them to put on the tree. But they had a good 20 years. They were a good 20 years old. So they could almost be considered vintage. I showed you in the video you watched, that's the first group of these ornaments that I purchased. They had buttons that you could press on them. And each one of those ornaments or stuffed animals made a certain noise. There was a group of them that were Christmas carolers. So the cow mooed and the cat meowed in tune to a Christmas carol. And obviously, I tried pressing those buttons and they didn't work anymore. But I can still remember the day they did work. And I can still remember the children that came by the house on Christmas Eve, the family members, small children, and that were enticed by the animals that sang Christmas carols. So yeah, there were a lot of memories in those small animals. And I am old, old enough to remember not having ever lost a package to USPS. Never. And I've sent many packages out. So I guess you got to forgive them when you think about my son-in-law, in his kind, manly manner. He said, "Oh, don't feel bad about it. Look at this." And he showed me a Instagram picture, a picture that somebody, actually it was like a collage of pictures that somebody posted on their Instagram stories that showed different offices, different post office, I guess warehouses or whatever, and their situation at the moment. Well, who knows? I don't know. I don't know the person, so I don't know when the pictures were taken. But it made me very sad to think that that was happening right now, and there were so many orphan packages that might never get to the people that they were, right, to the recipients. It made me very sad. And I am still very sad about this. But I guess it's just the way it is. I mean, it's just bad luck. The other two got to their destination, and Clue Smith didn't. So I guess we'll just have to live with that. I don't know. I thought maybe I'll just have to then crochet the animals and send them to her or give them to her on another visit. So that's the end of my story. Do you have any sad stories with USPS? Has your holiday season been dampened, stained by something that, I mean, I know it's out of their control. I'm very grateful of all the United States Postal Service men and women that work every day go diligently to their jobs and work in these warehouses or to sort out all of these packages. And I'm sure that they do the best of their that they can, the best of their capability. And I am also very sure that they were overloaded with packages, especially this COVID season, because of the fact that a lot of us are under lockdown. A lot of people are still like they don't want to go out to the stores, and so I can understand that they're overwhelmed, and that a couple of these packages will be damaged and will not reach their destination. So I guess a couple of those packages against the millions, or at least thousands, I don't know, that will reach their destination has to be forgiven, right? I mean, I don't want to talk bad about the service or about, I know they will probably return my money. Money was not the issue. It was just the memories that were in the box that money can't buy. So, yeah, but in the words of Forrest Gump, you know, beep happens. Beep happens. So that was my story for today. If you have any stories of this nature, share with me below. And I guess not just to feel that I'm the only one, but just to know that we're a kindred spirit here, and that we can console each other, and in the fact that, is there consolation in the fact that knowing that other people are going through the same thing? I don't know. I don't wish anybody in the world this suffering that I have gone through, to know that those memories were lost. But like I say, just things happen. So I hope your Christmas has a brighter note than the one that I am ending with today. But there will be brighter notes on the days to come, I can assure you. Just wanted to share this little anecdote with you. And sharing it does make me feel a little bit better. I don't know, I guess. So, I'll see you again tomorrow. I'll wrap it up today, and I think we've had enough sadness for a while, and hopefully you can sit down and watch a good movie and get your spirits back up as we continue to count down towards Christmas. Bye for now.